Our big focus this hour, Akshay Shinde, the main accused in the sexual assault of two 4-year-old girls in Maharashtra's Badlapur last month, was killed in a retaliatory firing incident on September 23rd. The incident, which also injured a police official, triggered a massive row between the state government and the opposition. While the administration has called it an act of self-defense, the opposition has called it a fake encounter and called for a probe. A number of highly publicized cases have kept the crisis in the headlines since 2012. In 2018, a 26-year-old man in central India was sentenced to death 3 weeks after his arrest on charges of rape and murder of a baby girl. In 2019, police officers shot dead 4 men suspected of raping and killing a 27-year-old veterinarian near the southern city of Hyderabad. Police said they were shot when they tried to snatch weapons from officers. The 2020 gang rape of a 19-year-old girl in northern India's Hathras district and her death weeks later in a hospital triggered nationwide outrage. Recently, the rape and murder of a trainee doctor in Kolkata has brought women onto the streets across India, furious at persistently high levels of sexual violence despite legal reforms and promised crackdowns. The government brought in sweeping changes to the criminal justice system, including tougher sentences after the gang rape and murder of a 23-year-old in 2012. The numbers, though, have stayed high, even as authorities ramped up the penalties, including a minimum sentence of 10 years with a possible extension to life or the death penalty if the victim is younger than 12. The big question then is it time to start expediting trials? Has this then become the last resort? Joining us at this point, Sanjay Sahai, former IPS officer, Naveen Chomal, senior lawyer, Supreme Court, also joins us live. Raj Lakshmi Joshi, political analyst, is live with us as well. Tahira Hassan, social activist, also joins us live. Tahira Hassan, let me begin with you first. Now, the fact is, after this particular incident, we've seen a political storm in Maharashtra. We've also seen the family of Akshay Shinde cry foul. But yet, many people have distributed sweets and are cheering what happened yesterday. Does this show the frustration within our system and the lack of faith because of the slow trials, even in such heinous matters?
Yes, I agree with you, but you know that we all women rights activists, all human beings who are really human beings, they want to see these type of accused to be punished. But under the court, under the law, through the due process, because we are not in anarchy, it's not a long-term solution. We are talking about sexual harassment against the women should stop. So we should, there should be not a selective outrage over sexual harassment against women. We should raise our voice on each and every such incidents, and that we talk about it, and we should ensure that conviction rate must be increased. That is very low. After Nirbhaya, strong laws are in our hand. We don't need more stronger than that, but implement it properly. What do you think when the accused come out of the jail? You see the case of IIT BHU case. What happened? He got the very warm welcome. What is this? So the action must be taken against those people also, whether they are political class, whether they are common man, or whatever they are. The action must be taken. Otherwise, you can't make the laws deterrent. They know that I get away. There are lots of loopholes, so we'll get away. After committing heinous crime, next time these people will commit more heinous crime. Very true that this Shinde has committed a heinous crime because he assaulted, he raped two minor girls in the school washroom, and they were the minor girls. So punishment, stringent punishment is needed for him. But I don't think so that this process, that by killing someone, you can't get the justice done. But the thing is this, that what the police version is saying, that it was tried to first fire at the police, attack on the police. So it was the retaliatory action by the police. So that can be justified. But if it is a fact, but his family is challenging to that. They said that there is a conspiracy between the school management and police also. that should also be proper. So I think that should also be proper. The fair trial, we always talk of the fair trial. We are the largest democracy that is run by the constitution, by the law, and all the institutions work according to their duties. We can't say we will take the role of police also, judiciary also in our hand. It cannot be done like that. We are not in anarchy. Again, I will repeat. We are in largest democracy in the world.
Sanjay Sai, let me take that across to you. What do you make of the rhetoric that has erupted after this particular incident yesterday? And what is now needed next to silence the naysayers, the critics, and of course, those who are questioning also what happened yesterday?
The rhetoric of this particular case apart, that the encounter word has descended to a level that it is being treated as extra legal killing, I think that speaks volumes where the criminal justice system has finally arrived. This is no solution. This cannot be a solution. There are enough and many regulatory mechanisms, inclusive of National Human Rights Commission and variety of other conditions which are laid down on the way custodial prisoners have to be handled. That being said, this particular incident certainly gives some doubt or some suspicion in the way it has been managed. The reality is that any prisoner, and most of the times when these nature of encounters happen, this is primarily where the prisoner is being taken either to the scene of offense or is being transported from one place to other. And in this particular case, he was being transported from the jail to some other place, primarily for some other case and not this particular case of rape. Now, that being said, now the reality of the matter is whether we have credibility in our police, in our investigative agencies, and we have started believing that this is the only way out, what we call as the shortcut. This shortcut does not work out. And whenever there are cases of public outcry or there have been mafia and underworld related cases, these encounters have taken place only in such circumstances. Suffice to say that there is somewhere the legal process, the faith in the legal process. So one is the credibility of the police, second is faith in the legal process, and also the faith of the police, whether they will be able to take the case through the judicial process and get a conviction in a very reasonable amount of time. Now, one point which we need to connect that on 20th of last month, there was a huge protest in Badlapur, and that was also nearly at the same time when we were having issues in Kolkata, and it was really emerging in a manner so that it becomes a big tinderbox. Case was not registered for 4 days. The High Court, which has come down heavily, I think on 22nd of August, with regards to failings of the police. Now, if these things happen, to compensate for that, then I don't know. But one thing is for sure, that as the earlier speaker talked about, that we are the largest democracy. And rule of law primarily is manifested in the fact that we have 100% credibility in the police, and if we don't have credibility in heinous cases and in cases where encounters are involved, and police today are also in custody in a similar manner as the accused are. And everybody is asking for judicial inquiry, all sorts of inquiries to get over this shroud of secrecy or confidentiality. My simple contention is that we have to believe in the due process of law, and the police, both through its acts and the way it projects itself, should give sufficient confidence in the people that they are following the due process of law. The second point is the courts and the National Human Rights Commission and variety of other regulatory agencies. They should be strong enough to pull up the police whenever any shortcut methods are basically applied to any particular case. So this is broadly where we are. We have to follow the rule of law. There is absolutely no other way out. The lapses of the initial investigation, and might be some lapses which is seen by the government, which is antithetical to their reputation. So I think those also play in the minds of the people. And in any custodial death or in any encounter where doubts are raised, the opposition is up in ante and the government always supports. So I can't understand. There are issues wherein the government can also be against. There can be threat of suspicion. If suspicion is there or any doubt is there or something is to be clarified, even government can speak about it. In the present case, one thing is for sure that there are certainly some doubts raised. I have spoken earlier also in one of the public forums with regard to some encounter earlier, wherein I fail to understand then when there are criminals of this nature and the cases are so high profile, while being in custody, how is the person capable of either escaping or picking up a revolver or a firearm and firing it on the people who are supposed to guard him and take him to the whole process? And if that is the case, I think this needs to be looked into from a criminal breach of trust and culpability angle. So if there is zero tolerance on the security provided to an accused while he is in police or judicial custody, I think that itself will sort out matters to a considerable degree. This case has to be handled by the police, and I think the current moment after charge sheets which have been filed on the 16th and the 19th of September, I think those charge sheets literally don't have any value, and whatever has been in the backdrop, I think that also gets washed out. So the safety of such criminals is extremely important to understand what is the whole background, how things have operated, inclusive of might be political inclinations here and there, and the charge sheet to be taken through the judicial process. I think that is most important. And finally, I'll close with one point, that the judicial process
Yes.
or the time taken to convict a case or the case not been able to get convicted, I think that is coming in way of literally anything and everything which raises such issues or forces the police
Okay.
or there is a thought process to get into a shortcut.
All right, let
The
me take that
inspector-
across to Naveen Chomal as well. Naveen Chomal, what do you make of the rhetoric that has erupted after this particular incident? Does it show lack of faith in the system? Does it show the fact that Maharashtra elections are around the corner? What do you make of the allegations that have also been leveled on what has transpired yesterday with the accused in custody?
Udayji, thank you very much. Kindly permit me to call a spade and be bold enough to put my views, which are very much real. I have put in 30 years of practice as a criminal lawyer in this field, and I have a reasonably good insight, not by intellect, but at least by experience. And Udayji, please appreciate, it is very easy and convenient for many of the speakers on various platforms to criticize the government, criticize the police, and blame them. But nobody there touches the actual spot where the problem lies, or one of the spot where the problem lies. It can lie at plural places also, but one of the place where the problem lies is our higher judiciary, the Supreme Court in particular, that teaches us that every rapist has a future. So between the society and the justice stands a liberal Supreme Court judge or a liberal High Court judge who has his eyes on the Western media, Western people who will give him awards later on or something. There's a big thing behind the curtain going on. We must appreciate. So ultimately what happens is society is deprived of justice. So you see what happened when the incident occurred. It is an absolutely heinous incident where a janitor, he basically molested and did wrong and on two innocent girls. What you say? No words can describe that. Now the public opinion was very much against him. The society wanted justice. But let us answer to ourselves very fairly. Would the society have got justice? Because there are judges who would have said every rapist has got a future. There are politicians who said कि लड़के लड़कों से गलती हो जाती है, and then come to the rescue, and the political blame game will follow. So ultimately, even if the police may have exceeded somewhere, then it is because the society demands it. And you see the reaction of the society everywhere, apart from some political parties in the opposition, but the general opinion of the public is a sigh of relief. Yes, the demon has been put to an end. What happens is normally in this case that let us understand the psyche of that particular person, the accused person. It is possible, of course. I am also a lay person like you people. So what I can basically visualize is that after being caught doing this particular act and finding that there is going to be a total strong action against him as per the new laws and the society is very hard and ultimately in next 20-22 years he will be in the prisons at least. So this person must have found that there is only one way to escape. And he must have taken a chance by seizing the revolver and though there is a case report that two police personnel have also got injured a bit. So in that case, the police life also matters. So police were very much within their right if this particular incident has occurred in the way it is being presented to take this life to protect their own life. So this is where the society stands. So I think we all must now stand in support of the protectors of the law because today, at least today, they have done something. They have not done something anything wrong because there is a proof, there is a material against this person. Of course, nobody would advocate shortcuts, as our learned friend Mr. Sahai was saying. That nobody would advocate shortcuts, but at the same time, the society cannot be deprived of the justice at the whims of the judges who try to teach us that every rapist has a future. So ultimately, society must raise its voice, and ultimately, it should be a mirror to the High Court judges also that you people are also becoming a mockery in the eyes of the public, and that's why because
okay. Now, at the end of the day, of course, we have to be careful with our words. We cannot be guilty of contempt of court. And what we say on the judiciary and judges should be weighed. Our words should be weighed. I will caution you there, Mr. Chomal. But yes, of course, as I said earlier to Tahira Hassan, if we have people, in Maharashtra celebrating, clapping, then that does show a certain frustration, Rajlakshmi Joshi. Don't you believe?
Yes, definitely, Uday. Mr. Sahai very rightly pointed out that, very sadly, there were two cases. There was this case of this RG Kar hospital, that doctor, whose murder and rape, that gruesome murder and rape was trying to be shielded as a suicide. It was, that was the kind of an attempt by the police and the government there. And then there was this case in Badlapur where, yes, the trustees did, I think they did make a very bad delay in registering the case. They did not take action for the longest time. And then, I think the very next day or the day after the case came to light, there was definitely action and the person, Akshay Shinde, he was arrested. Now, in the meantime, even after he was arrested, there was this huge protests. There were actually violent protests in Badlapur where, a certain political parties, I would say the Congress and the NCP, they went so far as to say that you hand over this person to us and we will make sure that the family gets justice. So that was the extent to which they went. And that was the kind of protest. They said that he needs to be hanged publicly. Yes, even I also believe that, such people should be given the utmost of punishment. And there should be not the slightest amount of mercy being shown to any of them. So, like Mr. Naveen Chomal, he was mentioning this case about the 4-year-old girl in Madhya Pradesh, who was raped and murdered by one Mr. Mohammed Firoz. So his death sentence was it was scrapped by the judges who said, and the apex court judges who said every sinner has a future. So this is the kind of a situation where people definitely feel frustrated. Now, one thing that I would like to correct Mr. Tahira, I understand her frustration. The IIT BHU rapists, two of them, they were given bail, but then nobody has celebrated them by cutting a cake as supposedly, because there were some political parties who had put up some old videos, and they said that the BJP is celebrating it. That did not happen, and it was taken down. Now, coming to this present situation, now the thing is that there was this SIT in place put up by the government. So the SIT, they have called the two trustees as absconding. So there is definitely no leniency being shown towards them. There is no case of the evidence being taken down or anything of that sort. Now this person, Mr. Akshay Shinde, he was actually identified by the two minors, and they have very specifically said that this bad touch that was actually being done by the person, the monster called Akshay Shinde. So there was absolutely no question that he was the person who had actually been the person who should be taken to task. So this thing about taking down the evidence and getting rid of the evidence, I think that is stupid. That is a that's a very wrong narrative. So right now, what is happening is the political parties, they are actually giving more mileage to this fact that there was this encounter, and actually they are if they feel that this is being done for the elections, they are the ones who are giving the BJP and the Shiv Sena credit for this encounter, because they are going on saying that you did it, and that is exactly what the people wanted. The people wanted this person to be hanged as soon as possible, and the opposition is foolishly saying that this is the doing of the BJP and the Shiv Sena, and the BJP and Shiv Sena are saying no, this was a retaliatory firing by the police. So this is a very strange situation where the opposition is hell bent on giving the BJP some political brownie points by saying that you did something good, which we actually wanted to do. So this is something where this thing about fake encounters, which we talk about, that is that extrajudicial killing. In some cases, you can say that, it is a little doubtful as to why it was done. Like, say, for example, in the Hyderabad case, it is not very clear as to whether those 4 people who are actually killed in this firing, in the encounter, whether they were actually the rapists or not. So it was a case of a very hasty encounter. So even then, all these kind of things, they definitely do come under scrutiny. They are definitely investigated. So this is something where this public sentiment and the public emotion also has a very big role to play in all of this. And of course, the policemen accompanying them also, they will not definitely be kind to such a rapist. And he was also being taken to another jail in another case.
But Tahira Hassan, the fact is, we have strengthened our laws. There's been so much outrage. People come out on the streets every time, but yet such incidents continue. Why is that?
Because the laws are not implemented. This is what I want. Just give me 1 second only. It was saying that the BHUIT case was the fake. Okay, what about the Ram Rahim, who comes out every time on the parole? He is convicted. Do you think the laws are going to be?
That's absolutely not okay.
Rape is such a heinous crime.
You cannot
rape is a heinous crime.
Can I just add
Let me finish. When you were talking, I was listening to you. You also listen to me peacefully.
Okay.
We are talking on very serious matter. Rape is a heinous crime. And I am also women rights activist. I'm working for last 25 years in Uttar Pradesh, largest state of the India. So, I'm saying when we're talking against this rape and heinous sexual violence and all against the women, we must not be selective in outrage. Earlier statement I had said, whether rape took place in Manipur or in Kolkata, Mamata Banerjee tried to play down to suicide, or in Maharashtra or in Uttar Pradesh, Hathras, Ayodhya or Kannauj or Dehradun, we raise our voice in same this thing. Anger is there, pain is there, because we want after Nirbhaya, because I'm also one of the activists who gave our inputs in the when the Justice Verma Committee was constituted, and I think the strong law has been made that should be implemented. And again, people are talking about only court. I'm saying the police is supposed to do the investigation properly, collect the evidences properly, and produce it in the court. And the honorable court will give the justice on that evidences. Chhavda Delhi case, where the bottle was inserted in the private part of the girl, but the accused just got the bail. How? Because the evidences were not collected properly, delayed, or some brushed under the carpet. So emphasis should be on that. We are concerned with each and every woman, girl, that they should not face these kind of heinous crime. So our this thing action must be towards that we must come on one platform and raise our voice against it only. Whoever government is there, all the governments are same, all protect. When they are in their state, something happens, they says no, this is not, this opposition is raising voice. So why are we talking about the governments? Whoever is the power, the parties will keep changing. It's not like that only one party will serve to one state all forever.
Yes, Naveen Chomal, your quick reaction. Because, there is frustration growing, as I was saying earlier, in building. The fact is that these cases also are so, so depraved and so heinous because these are minors who are being sexually assaulted and molested by these individuals. We can't even call them individuals, actually.
See, we have to live from the perspective of the society. Ultimately, in the democratic setup, the public of the nation is supreme. And you see, the view of the majority should prevail. So in this case, at least you find that the society is, vocal enough, and it is giving its, thumbs up to whatever has happened to the alleged rapist in this particular case. And they wanted justice to happen to the two minor girls. And the society is standing with the police machinery that, okay, he tried to attack you and you had the right to defend yourself. So you did the right thing by putting him to an end. So ultimately, we have to understand that above the constitution also, it is ultimately the view of the people of the country that is more important. So that we must always remember. And whatever the laws are there, and as Tairaji was saying, the implementation. So the implementation of the laws also should be as per the requirement of the society to meet the ends of justice, and not for the whims of certain few people who are holding the powers of like the judges or the politicians. So ultimately, now through our esteemed channel, we must convey the message that the society is now getting vocal, and we must respect the sentiments of the society which wants the justice.
Sanjay Sai, last word to you.
That we have very strict laws. I think the most stringent possible in this world. But unfortunately, we don't have the wherewithal to support those laws during the investigation process, by which we are able to charge it within a very short period of time, and also the capability to take it through the judicial process and get conviction. Second is, any law is as good as the predictability of punishment. Whether our current laws provide you that predictability of punishment within a given timeline. If that happens, it's fine. If it does not happen, the strict, stringent laws passed through the union legislature or whatever legislature, I don't think this is going to deliver whatever it is intended to. So that is point number 2. And point number 3, does the police officer at any point in time feels immune to whatever are the real judicial investigative processes because he has some political influence? So whether a police officer can withstand political influence, and in this case, as it is being made out by all the panelists,
Yes.
the social influences
Okay.
also.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.